Brad Williams, XL Prime. What are we looking at here? We're looking at COUNTIF. What we need to do is look at our hard codes. What do you mean by hard codes? Well, you know COUNTIF. We're just counting cells that meet a criteria, and we're just going to set the criteria. So what's so unique about this? Well, we have two criteria, and when we have two criteria, or do we have one criteria and then we just want to add the other criteria? That's the mystery. Here, include or not. What do you mean by that? Well, we have a list here, and we want to include raspberries or blueberries. You remember I said there's that AND function and the OR function? Here, when you put a plus sign, it indicates OR. COUNTIF B5 to B10 is raspberries, or COUNTIF pea beans. And simple enough, all we do is look and see, are there raspberries? Well, yeah. Are there pea beans? Are we adding both or just one? Well, here, pretty clear, we get one or the other. Why is that so? It's a first in, first out kind of math. Over here, you use a formula that employs the COUNTIF. Okay, you can use a formula that employs the COUNTIF function twice to determine the number of cells. So what there do you see right off the bat? If you don't see it, dig a little deeper. What am I talking about? You can count one or both. That's why we have that plus sign. COUNTIF counts the number of cells in a list that meet a given set of conditions. In this example, the criteria for the first COUNTIF are raspberries, whereas the criteria for the second is pea beans. I've never eaten a pea beans. Never. I have no idea what a pea bean is. The COUNTIF returns the number of cells in B5 to B10 that contain the value. There are no apples here. There are raspberries or pea berries. The second returns the number of cells that contain pears. Perhaps this was an F9er, and I changed it out of F9 because apples and pears don't apply. So look, don't read too much in that. You get the idea. It's a produce. And if it's raspberries or pea berries or raspberries, as I typically say, you know we'll count those. We can do this in a couple different ways. I don't like this format. If there is a screw up, I'm going to have to go in and change every one of these, and I don't like doing that. And if you haven't picked up the obvious, let me know. Text values within COUNTIF criteria must be enclosed in quotes, but numbers do not. Count cells in a list equal to 0 or 1, use, well, B5 to B10, 0, B5 to B10, 1. All right, hard code. Well, you can see we've hard coded, and I would prefer to put produce up here that I'm searching for. Here we go. Do we have raspberries or do we have raspberries? See what happens when you put this stuff in incorrectly? Raspberries, as I would say. Raspberries should be 2. Well, it should be the same over here. What's the difference here? We have a constant here as opposed to the buried in between quotes. All right. And all we're going to do is change the cherries and kumquats. But that's it. Couple different strategies using COUNTIF. This one, we have a sum COUNTIF. What's the difference? Sum is just going to use COUNTIF, and because we're using the constant list, it's going to count these first, and then sum is going to just go 1 plus 1 or 1 plus 2 or what have you. Let's see. Here, we'll just go range. Well, we know the range and the criteria, F9. Hit it. Well, it doesn't tell us a lot, does it? We'll go in here, hit F9, and again, no help. So then we'll go in here and we'll go criteria, and I'm sure we're not going to get anything there. We're not. We'll go to number, F9, and it goes 2, 1. What's the 2, 1? How many cherry do we have? We have 2. How many kumquats do we have? 1. Here we have range, and it says 2-1. And I guess it goes in alphabetical order. No, actually, it went cherries first, and then kumquats. Just a review, just to get you thinking that this format, either format, kind of sucks. I would build a list up here, and I would have produce for this first row up here. I'd have produce over here, and I'd have them hard-coded so I could change them on the fly. Brad Williams, XL Prime. Williams out.